You see, a long time ago, there were a great many animals. People used to hunt these animals for food, but after a while, they just hunted them for sport. Man, animals, and other living organisms have a very delicate relationship on this planet, all fulfilling their individual roles in order to maintain balance. However, when one group oversteps its bounds, these roles begin to fall apart and slowly shift to a new ideal. Ecology is the study of the relationships between living organisms, including humans, and their physical environment. It seeks to understand the vital connections between plants and animals and the world around them.
According to natural instincts, animals will hunt other animals for survival. This is why there is a food chain of prey to predator. However, the species who sits at the top of the food chain have the power, to an extent, to bend nature to its will. While most animals kill for their own survival, humans have found amusement in hunting for sport. Humans who sit at the top of the food chain have established themselves as hunters and all others as game.
King shows this relationship through the hunting season. The roles of the game as an animal, are represented by the seniors at the Fernhill Senior Game Preserve. Like humans, the seniors have individual names. However, they are also referred to using physical attributes such as body weight, height, and an assigned number similar to farm animals. They wear camouflage clothing to hide in their surroundings much like wild animals. The seniors all have the same mindset of trying to live, to run from the preserve across the meadow and into the safety of the forest. Escaping for the day is incredibly difficult, almost as if the seniors are destined to get shot. Even Mason knows that it would be sheer luck if he got through another season. The sole purpose of the seniors is to run, hide, and provide entertainment for those that are watching them in the blinds. As time passed, the animals began dying off. There are many reasons. Pollutants killed quite a few, diseases killed some too, but most of the animals were hunted until there just weren't any more. The seniors have replaced the animals that have been hunted to extinction.
Mason, we're killers. Man's a killer. The role of the hunters is shown through the people that shoot the seniors. They are portrayed as merciless, bloodthirsty individuals that do not care about the lives they take. Liz Wesson tried to help old Howard Luger last year, got as far as the third post before some smartass got them both with one shot. The guy wants some kind of prize. The hunters also clearly hunt for sport. Someone had waited all that time, waited until she was almost safe before trying a long and difficult shot. They'd rather target the ones that introduce a challenge rather than the ones that don't present much difficulty. These people embody the hunters of this day and age. Hunting has become a sport and a source of entertainment regardless of the effects on wildlife. Human beings are natural hunters, you see. We didn't mean to kill all the animals, it just happened. This tendency, caused by greed and bloodlust, destroys the balance that was naturally established.
King highlights the dangers of being king of the food chain and the responsibilities that come with it. The story is told in the third person from Mason's point of view, giving many of the seniors more depth to their character compared to the hunters. For example, we know that Mason has a son and a granddaughter, and Miss Winchester needs a walker, while the hunters are just people who hold guns. This lets the reader sympathize more with the hunted rather than the hunters. Although the seniors live in fear of the hunters, they console each other, saying, "At least here you're part of a delicate balance," referring back to the power imbalance, as well as emphasizing the irony of humans being both predator and prey. King also uses the symbol of ruby hearts, which are red flowers, in conjunction with violence to show the bloody taint of hunting for sport. The ruby hearts are first mentioned to appear suddenly in splashes and pools in the tall grass. King's diction makes these ruby hearts seem like blood, splashes of red pooling on the ground. This also foreshadows the slaughter that has yet to come. At the end, the meadow is described to be ran with color as though the ruby hearts had come early. Once again, the ruby hearts mentioned, and this time they are a euphemism for the blood that is spilled from Mason's slaughter. Mason knocks out the hunter with a rock while shouting, "That's not fair, one shell, goddammit," showing the false belief of the seniors that each hunter cannot fire multiple times, most likely told to the seniors in order to evoke confidence and provide the hunters with an advantage. The truth is revealed to Mason. Without contemplation, Mason grabs the fallen hunter's rifle and begins the carnage. He does this because he is now figuratively at the top of the food chain and has the ability and the willingness to hunt others. This can be related to animals in nature. For example, a lion with dull claws and dull teeth will be powerless like Mason was. If the lion managed to sharpen its claws and strengthen its teeth, it would climb the hierarchy, similarly to Mason after receiving the rifle.
At the beginning of humanity, before society was developing, there was nothing. No cities, no towns, no infrastructure. At this stage, humans have yet to develop any sort of civilization. Civilization is the stage of societal development that is considered the most advanced at the time. In the modern age of society, each civilization has their own language, government, infrastructure, technology, and has achieved complex levels of culture and religion. This is all due to the people in the past who had to gather and work together to build up their society to what it is now. Civilization being the process by which a society or place reaches an advanced stage of social and cultural development was the ultimate goal of the past. Our ancestors fought and competed against others for resources without giving much thought to the environment around them, mostly thinking of self-gain. As new technologies emerged and civilizations began to advance and expand, they required more and more resources from the world around them. Whether society can still progress while maintaining environmental sustainability is a challenge for the future.
King comments on the theme of civilization through the setting of the story using the ideas of change, specific laws, and family. The dystopian narrative is explained to be caused by the human tendency to overconsume and undercompensate. As advanced as human beings might be, they often resist change. Change can be foreign, unknown, and unpleasant. Although change is needed for progression and innovation, people would much rather stay in the realm of comfort in the present, cowering in fear of the future. Each society has its own traditions or common ritualistic actions performed. In terms of postmodern society, this includes daily activities such as finding entertainment or going to school. When these defined rituals are taken away, people will try their best to find some sort of substitute to avoid the change that occurs. This is illustrated by King through the existence of the hunting season. With all the animals gone, there is no game to be hunted. Resisting this change, people desperately try to find a substitute for their habits. Mason tries to explain the situation to his granddaughter, but how does he tell a 7-year-old about human psychology and destructive urges, about the competitive killing that began when there was nothing left to hunt? Naturally, the destructive urges of human society brings about many problems. Whether they are hunting animals or each other, the destruction would still ultimately occur. This is evident in countless events in history. Any war that had occurred was somewhat due to human nature and its willingness to cause a ruckus. The seniors are part of a delicate balance that keeps human beings from blowing themselves up, suggesting that if there were no animals or seniors to hunt for sport, human societies would begin blowing each other up, similarly to nuclear warfare. However, this does not only encompass physical warfare, but all sorts of conflict.
Ultimately, human civilization has come to a point where without something or someone to prey on, internal conflict arises. Furthermore, the seniors law is an example of society's way of coping with change. This law, present in the United States but not Canada, seems to allow hunters to shoot these seniors as game. This can be related to the initial development of North America. The settlers who came from Europe distributed the peace of the First Nations peoples and eventually took over the land. The First Nations peoples were oppressed and unable to resist. This is comparable to the seniors, who every day for 6 weeks struggle to find shelter at the sanctuary while being closely watched by hunters with rifles at hand. Joe, one of the seniors, contemplates methods to escape the preserve every year but never commits to them. In the story, Joe finally has the opportunity to escape but is stopped dead in his tracks by Mason putting a bullet through his chest. The series of events emphasizes the nature of society and the point to which civilization has developed.
As civilization develops, families are often set aside for the betterment of society. Mason, who we know has a son named Bob and a granddaughter named Sarah, is unable to see his family. Sarah's picture was on the nightstand. Bob had brought her by for Christmas. She'll be 8 in July. It is evident that Mason can only see his granddaughter on special occasions, such as the holidays. This is similar to the original colonization of North America. The European views of life and society were extremely different to the indigenous peoples. However, due to their superior fighting power, the Europeans were able to force the First Nations community into following their views. Countless indigenous children were sent to residential schools, unable to see their families, as well as the people being forced out of their land so that the settlers could take resources. This all relates to the notion that eventually, after humans are satisfied with their accomplishments, their greedy nature will push them into conflict with others. even when the settlers assimilated the indigenous peoples into the so-called Western society, they were unable to function properly due to problems such as discrimination or strict laws. Similarly to the seniors, where you were only allowed 3 sick days during the season, and after that, they carried you out to the first post and left you there. Although getting sick or hurt is unpredictable, the authorities still send the seniors out to the field to get hunted. These strict rules and distance from family causes the seniors to be distressed and become victims of this development of society known as civilization.
The closer you get to Canada, the more things will eat your horses is a story with an absurd premise at first sight. However, King weaves satire along with themes of ecology and civilization into the unconventional community that exists in the story, using seniors' law as an extreme exaggeration of the consequences of unsustainable consumption, or the background of the story as a hyperbole for habits and traditions. King criticizes the tendencies of human nature which remain unchanged through the test of time.